Hello and welcome to Walking the Earth podcast. I'm Justin Castle calling in from New York, New York.
And I'm Mike Margulies, today calling in from Battambang, Cambodia. And this episode, we're being joined by Christina Jin in San Francisco. And Christina is actually the founder of a startup called SpaceHitch, which you can find at spacehitch.com. Feel free, actually, Christina, to jump in here if I'm misrepresenting you, if you have something to add, whenever you like. But
Is that a perfect so far?
all right. Basically, if I have it right, then SpaceHitch is you are connecting people who need things from random spots in the world that are hard to find items, rarities, from that mom and pop store maybe in some random country in Southeast Asia, for example, with the backpackers who have extra space in their bags and can take that item back to you.
So hello everyone. Yeah, exactly. Basically, we're connecting travelers to people who want things from other places. So it can be because something you want doesn't exist in your city, or simply because it's much cheaper somewhere else. And obviously, backpackers are great because they travel so much, but anyone who is traveling can basically be a part of it.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
What inspired this idea?
I was out of the U.S. for 4 years. I actually just got back to the U.S. to kind of start SpaceHitch, just to incorporate and get all the paperwork done. And the first couple months, you're like, oh, it's fine. You know, every country has toothpaste and gummy bears and shampoo. But then after a while, you're like, oh, this sucks. None of this is the stuff that I used to use. And it's just, you miss so many things from I don't know, there's no hot sauce outside the U.S. Just everything, 90% of the things that you take for granted down the street, you can't get even in a lot of major cities in Western Europe. And so, you travel, you make a lot of friends who are also expats, and every time anyone goes home, everyone's just like, get me all this stuff. And you realize that no matter how long you travel, no matter where you relocate to, you always go home. Even if you don't live in that country anymore, you always go back to get stuff every year, and most of my friends do it. And then from a business perspective, you think about all the space that people are not using, and then you just basically add it together. It's it makes good business sense.
Yeah, I think it's it's pretty awesome. And I think it also would work, for example, if I'm backpacking now and, oh man, I forgot this thing I can only get in the States. I could use SpaceHitch to have someone in the States maybe who's heading this direction, starting their travels, help me to get my item. I think it's a really cool idea and a cool concept, just connecting people. Basically it's sort of like connecting people traveling so that folks who are at places they can't get their things can get them. And it's kind of like a thing I think a lot of backpackers or people that are not traveling could find useful to get to that rare little item.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And we started it basically to, help people, because when you're out in the middle of Cambodia for 3 years, you realize you can't get Crest toothpaste and, you're the allergy medicine you generally take. And when you're at home, it's super easy to go to any store and get a lot of things you can't find elsewhere. So if you're out in Cambodia and someone comes by and is able to help you get a package of just a couple everyday items, that's such a huge thing for you. But to them, it's totally easy. So it's why don't you create a way that's, a big help to someone, but totally not a hassle for someone else?
Yeah, and so I guess I'm curious. I'm guessing that there was some sort of personal inspiration, when you were abroad, there was something that you wanted from home, or when you were not abroad, you wanted something else from a country you had visited. Is there a personal spark that caused you to think of this idea?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, basically 90% of the things that you can find in the U.S., it's hard to find outside. I'm sure there's replacements and stuff, but that thing you want, you can't find. And the thing I really like is candy. So when I went to visit my friend, that was the spark. It was just having 99-cent candy. But when I went to Germany, just in any random grocery store, there was this really good like candy, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna buy like 1,000 packs of this and like take it with me. I was like, oh, maybe that's not a good idea, that might seem kind of weird. And I was like, all right, well, and I was almost gonna fly back to Germany because I was in Europe at the time, so I was like, it's only a $200 plane ticket to go get a 99-cent pack of candy. And in the USA, I like the I don't know if you guys have them over in New York, but it's the gummy sharks fruit snacks that you find at like Safeway or Lucky's.
Yeah.
And
Sure,
I was like,
gummy sharks.
So like that's one of my favorites, and I was just like, oh my god, how can I get some? Like I was like, all right, maybe I can get like my friend to mail me some, but the places I was at, like I was in Istanbul at that time.
They don't have gummy bears in Europe.
not as good as like certain gummy bears. And then like the places I was staying at, the post system wasn't that good, and then like I didn't even think some of the places I stayed at had like mail, so I was like, oh, this sucks. Like I can't get any gummy bears unless I go fly over. So I was like, well, who can get me gummy bears? How about all those people who fly from Germany to Istanbul every day? Like, and that's what started it.
That's awesome. So gummy bears, a craving for gummy bears was the inspiration for Space Hitch, essentially.
Well, when you say it like that, it just seems so much less.
No, I think it sounds awesome. Actually, that's. I think that that's an awesome story.
Hey, necessity is the father and the mother of invention, and you needed gummy bears. You needed gummy sharks.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what you needed.
Also, maybe like buffalo sauce. That was also.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I go without spicy food for too long, I go through withdrawal. So I think if I find myself in a country without any spicy food, I'm going to need to space hitch it to me, like Tabasco sauce.
Like Mike, is that what is the number one thing that you would get right now if if Space Hitch were live right now, what would you get?
Tabasco actually sounds pretty good right now. They've got they do have spicy food here, though I kind of like that. There's a certain flavor I like. Tabasco is it's not always the flavor I want, but sometimes I haven't had that in months, so that would be good to have some.
What about
that would be it.
What about a Maryland or a Texas thing?
I don't know. Maybe I could get like a Baltimore Ravens hat because I lost mine. I have this thing recently of losing hats. Not losing hats. Actually, hats get stolen from me all the time. Usually I'll be out, like, I'll just be wearing a hat, and some girl will say, oh, can I borrow that hat? And I'll say, sure, why not? And then...
And you just give it to her?
I don't give it to her. I just hand it to her to borrow, not intending to give it to her, and then they end up just taking it. And this has happened to me 3 times. And I need to learn. I think it's the universe telling me I shouldn't be wearing a hat.
What did she borrow it for? Like, is it a really sunny day and she forgot her own hat?
No, I just wear really cool hats. No, actually, I was sad though because I had this one hat. It was this green hat with an eyeball on it. There's a picture of it actually from one of our episode covers a few episodes back. And I got it in Chiang Mai. It was painted on. It really was a hat that spoke to me. And on a boat, some girl was like, oh, can I borrow that hat? And I said, yeah, sure. And then next thing you know, when the boat stopped, she was already long gone by the time I got off the boat. Just like took off with it. That kind of thing has happened to me a few times. So the first one I had was a Baltimore Ravens hat. That was the first one that was taken from me. So I think that would be a good thing to get Space Hitched out to me. A Baltimore Ravens hat. Because I don't have any hat right now.
All right, well, we've had a lot of people who are in, like, Cambodia, Vietnam, that area, basically just, like, email us and be like, oh, are you guys live? Like, I can't do anything on the site right now, but, like, I'm going to Cambodia later. Like, I want to sign up, so you're probably in luck.
Yeah, good,
awesome.
Good.
Speaking of which, what is your target? Like, what is your goal? Do you have a goal launch date?
Yeah. We should be up latest by mid-May.
Nice.
Wow, that's really soon. Holy crap! So once you go live, what's the process? What's the process like for going through a Space Hitch?
Okay, so basically you just go to the website and you sign up. You'll be able to sign up either with Facebook or just, with your email, and you're going to have to create a profile. And we're going to make it that if you want to do anything on SpaceHitch, you'll have to fill out your profile, just so we don't have a bunch of people with, like, empty profiles being weird and creepy and stuff like that. And it'll be super simple. It's like a picture, your name, where you're from, maybe what languages you speak, and what you like to do when you travel. Nothing super major.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like, so maybe you have a similar system like Couchsurfing has almost, right? Where you've got this profile, people say what you're about, and ratings and stuff, so you can see, hey, is this person a reliable person? Did they actually deliver the stuff? Did they actually give the money when things were delivered, kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like, definitely, you'll be able to leave ratings and comments for other people, so that you have, like, a good, a bad, and neutral experience, and you can write stuff. Couchsurfing's profile is a little long. We're gonna, like, keep it somewhat simpler. Maybe more like, I don't know, maybe more like Airbnb, but theirs is like really, really simple. But just like a couple paragraphs, so it doesn't take like forever to fill out.
Yeah. It's always that balance, right?
Yeah. And then so whether you are traveling or you are somewhere looking to buy things, you can just go and create a post. So if you're a traveler, it's probably going to be easiest just to list like your trip details, where you're going, when you're landing there, where you're coming from, what date, and also how much space you have. As a buyer, it's probably going to be the easiest for you to like search. So we'll have a search option, and you can search by anywhere, anything. So you can even just find a list of people who are coming to your country. And maybe you didn't know you needed something from Greece, but hey, someone's coming to Cambodia from Greece, so you can just get some random Greek stuff. And then after that, you get in touch and you kind of talk with the person.
That's awesome.
And one thing we're trying to promote is kind of
I didn't know I wanted a figurine of Hercules, but now that there's on there.
There you go. And then so this is kind of just another extension of the share economy that's popping up everywhere. Hey, Justin, do they have, like, Uber and stuff in New York yet?
Uber, yeah. They've got Uber. I don't really use it that much, but I know that some of my friends use it currently.
Okay, yeah. So when I got back to the USA, Uber and, like, all this shared car stuff was the new big thing. And that could have surprised me because back in Europe, I was like, oh, we were doing this, like, already. Like, we were already having carpools. But, so the share economy is becoming super prevalent. We want to be a part of that just because it's way cooler than making everything like a cold, hard cash transaction. We're encouraging people to maybe exchange services. So someone brought you over, I don't know, 6 bottles of Tabasco sauce. You can pick them up from the airport and kind of teach them how to use public transportation, because that's kind of more helpful than like getting them a cab ride and then like dropping them somewhere and they're still like lost because they don't know how to use the metro system or whatnot.
That's really cool concept. Yeah, trading different goods or services. That's I think you're right. That's a new emerging kind of thing all over. Is this people? It's like Couchsurfing and Uber. It's people are helping each other out, and I think it's a really cool thing that's you're starting to see these kind of things emerge. So yeah, I like the sound of that actually.
I think it's also along the concept of I think society in general is going that direction of shared, like Zipcar, like everything's on demand, everything's when you need it. Just like the internet. I want to go see this show right now at this time. This is what I need, so I'm gonna go do this. I think that you're right in there, on the edge of the way that everybody's going, and you're definitely one of the pioneers. So it's definitely a privilege to be hearing this before it's live. That's a cool thing.
Yeah. And actually,
thank you guys very much. Go ahead.
It almost
Can we
reminds
flatter
me of,
you some more?
It almost reminds me of kind of like a Burning Man type of thing, also, where people are starting to kind of share things with each other, and it's neat. It's a super hippie thing too, maybe, but it's cool. I think it is kind of the direction I think the world's heading. Instead of like Zipcar thing you were mentioning, Castle. Rather than say I don't need to necessarily own a car, I can have a car available to me when I need it. And those kinds of, I think we are seeing more of those kinds of services emerge, where folks are just, communally sharing some resource instead of everyone having their own thing.
Right.
It's an interesting way of doing things, I think.
Right. And Christina, the cool thought about your thing is it's not just a regional thing. Yours is specifically meant for multiple marketplaces. I talk about this way. This is my business side of my brain. Multiple marketplaces immediately. Like, this is not a regional service. This is like an international service, which you can get like right away.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, I know that it's got to be difficult dealing with international trade and all that stuff. I'm sure that you've had to brainstorm like how to interact with different countries. How's that coming along?
So while we want to obviously be like, oh my God, here's this cool thing, it's available everywhere, that's not going to be smart. It is going to be much smarter for us to concentrate on like a few areas. So we'll probably obviously concentrate on the USA and probably Asia, just because we have the most contacts there. One of our big markets are expats, and expats are generally people who have traveled, and they're generally very culturally well versed. So it's gonna be much easier to approach and talk to those people because they're people living in other cultures. They understand what it's like. Your other market is going to be travelers, and again, travelers are kind of they fall into that same spectrum of people who understand other cultures because they are willing to go out of their comfort zone. So that's like, we obviously want to use this, we obviously want to target locals as well, because one of the biggest things is that in Asia, when I was in Taiwan, there was a lot of friends, there was a group of friends, and they all went to the USA regularly, and then whenever one of them went to the US, like, everyone else would order, like, jeans from her, because everyone knew their size, because they were all really tall, and they couldn't get, you can't get jeans in Asia if you're, outside of the standard, height and stuff. So in Asia, they have a lot of need for things that are outside of their country, but because of, strict visa requirements and stuff, it's really difficult for them to get that stuff, which means we would be a big help. How we are going to be able to market to the locals and basically build trust and, have them want to use the services, I guess it's just going to depend on, we're just have to be culturally aware and, you're probably going to have to cut this, Justin, because I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But it's basically it's the thing that every business deals with. How does an American market to a Chinese? How does a German person market to a Mexican person? You have to understand their culture. So it's something we'll tackle either by making lots of mistakes and offending a lot of people culturally when we try to market to them. And ultimately, hopefully, getting it correct. But I think it's hopeful because, so our lead developer, our CTO, she's from the Philippines. I have a friend, she's from Paris. She's French, and she actually had this same idea, and then so she got in touch with us. She's like, "Oh my God, you guys are doing this thing that we're also I also wanted to do." And so I've been to a lot of countries. So we, between the whole group of us, we do understand more cultures because we've traveled more, which means hopefully when we try to market to people in other cultures, we will offend them less and less often.
Well, obviously, yeah, you want to avoid offending people, but part of building a business also is you have to fail, right? You can't build a successful business without having some failures along the way. And then the question is, if you're starting a business, are you letting any roadblock, any failure, are you letting that stop you? Or is it, okay, or do we pivot from there, figure out what we did, and move forward? And that's, as long as you're approaching it with the right attitude, it sounds like you are, right? So understanding that there will be some little failures, but we're gonna work and maybe we'll try to offend less people. You're not going out there trying to offend people. Obviously,
Right.
it's not easy.
And
It's
yeah,
not.
and it goes with scaling at a manageable speed. Like we don't want to be like right now. We don't really have anyone on the team who is super fluent in, say, I don't know, like Russian culture. Just
Right.
just an example. So maybe we don't want to go into that market right away. We're going to start with the markets that we're familiar with, and then when we are able to scale a little bit, maybe we can bring on more people, onto the SpaceHitch team who understand, or who are better marketing acumen.
Yeah, it's a smart approach. Like, you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Stay.
If you need a, yeah, I agree. If you need a correspondent for New York and somebody familiar with New York cultures, you can use me as your ambassador. And,
Absolutely, Justin.
I know Mike is familiar with Houston culture.
Yeah.
So Houston, Texas.
I'm happy to share the knowledge that I do have, if it can be of any help. Houston or
Okay,
Southeast
excellent.
Asia or
Between the three of
India, a few various places.
Okay, excellent. Between the three of us, we have the East and West Coast covered, and some of the middle.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, Christina, I am curious to hear more about some of your personal story, because you mentioned a few moments ago, that you, after returning to the U.S., and you told us before the show that you had been abroad for, you said 4 years, I think?
Yeah, it's around 4 years. I lost count.
Yeah.
You lose count of like how long you're gone, how many countries you've been to, where you've been.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing. You had a very extended travels, and so you started in Taiwan, or you were in Taiwan for a large period of that.
I was in Taiwan for about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, nice.
So not particularly long.
So were you living in a particular city in Taiwan, or traveling about?
So I lived in Hsinchu, which is not very well known. It's an hour and a half south of Taipei, which is the capital. So it's pretty close. But most people just know Taipei.
Yeah. And so were you, when you were out there, you were working on businesses or working out there, or just kind of traveling about, living, a Taiwanese lifestyle?
A Taiwanese lifestyle. So when not like in Taiwan and then in all the other places, it was a mixture of I had a company I was following around, and the main reason that I was following this company, was because they helped me get a lot of like visas and permanent residences for that country, and then so I could work with them, have like a company provided visa, and then just goof off the rest of the time. So yeah, it was just that and traveling, and basically just you have a point where you live, and it's generally surrounded by a bunch of other countries, because unlike the USA, all the other countries are much closer, and traveling is much easier. I'm sure you guys have figured that out.
Yeah. So you landed yourself a job.
Then,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, no, and then I was saying the other thing that I did a lot was I was following like poker tournaments.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Do you play?
Gambler.
You're a player.
I used to play poker.
All right.
A lot.
Nice. So are you a top poker competitor? Are you a card shark?
I follow. No. I don't know. I've only played like once or twice. Are you guys familiar with poker tournaments and how it kind of goes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's in this city, and then it moves to another country.
I'm not familiar with that, actually.
I'm
I'm thinking of like watching World Series of Poker on TV. I know like how the game works and how the tournaments go,
okay.
but I'm not familiar with this.
Structure. Okay, so the tournament structures, so they have like the World Poker Tour, the European Poker Tour, the Asian Poker Tour, blah blah blah. It's generally very like focused in an area, for example, Europe or Asia or whatever. And it starts like generally September and ends in May, and the reason, or it ends in like March, and the reason most things end in March is because the World Series of Poker is in May, and so you don't want to have like your little mini tournament, and then there's like the Monster World Series, which you can't compete with, and so what happens is every month, they have a tournament in a place. So this month it'll be in, I don't know, New Zealand. Next month it's gonna be in Australia, and then it's in like Manila, then it's in like Indonesia, and so you just go and follow them.
Oh.
And that's basically what I was doing.
So you're saying that we're talking to not currently active world-class poker player, but formerly active world-class poker player who is following the Poker World Tour? Is that what you're saying right now?
Okay, so no, I didn't finish the story.
You lost it all on red.
I didn't finish the story. So with poker, are you guys familiar with or know the difference between like tournaments and cash games?
Yes. And I guess so anyone listening though,
but you might want to
give a quick explanation.
You
go ahead and give an explanation though.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically a tournament is like a competition. So, you pay the entry fee and you are part of the tournament, and when you lose all your chips, you basically go home and, cry or something like that. But if you win, then you win all the money that, say there was 100 people and everyone paid $1, then, the person who won would win 100 times 1, which is, $100. But obviously, the top 10% of people win or whatever. Versus cash game, it's just you just play whenever you want. You use cash, and then if you go in with $100 and you are super awesome, and you have $1,000 in front of you, you can just take that cash out, take your $1,000 and go do whatever.
And cash game, you can buy back in. If you lose, you can go back to the buy some more chips and get back in the next hand. But tournament style, which what you're doing is you get your chips, and once you're out, you're done. Boom.
Right, and so I am not a tournament professional. I don't know anything about tournaments, but I follow the tournaments and I play the cash games because those draw huge crowds. And okay, I guess I'll share this because everyone knows it already.
It's interesting stuff.
Everybody.
But hopefully nobody gets upset. But basically, the tournament is like the big thing. It's like the Olympics, like, oh my gosh, whatever. And then the cash games are just there because, there's, it's an event, people are there, and also people who get knocked out of the tournament, they might have to wait like a day or something for the next tournament, so they need something to do, which means that not only are there more games, there are more suckier people who play. So it's just versus if you have a casino at, a place and you go there on like a normal night, the only people who are going to go to that casino are people who are good because they go there every day. But if it's like an event, people are just like, oh my gosh, this is fun. I'm just going to go and have fun.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
So basically, that's actually brilliant. I never would have thought about that. But of course, at all these different poker tournaments, you've also got side cash games. And that's where all the people that are the people either not good enough to get in the tournament in the first place or people that are out. So you have a bunch of suckers playing in the cash games, and so if you're good, if you're decent, you can maybe go and clean house a little bit at a cash game.
Right, and it's also a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, I'm going to just go to that tournament just because I want to say I win, but maybe I don't really want to play.
That's actually brilliant.
That's great. Mike, there you go. That's how we fund Walking the Earth Podcast LLC. That's how we do it.
Right. I'm not good enough at poker. I know how to play, but I'm probably one of those suckers, actually. that you're taking the money from.
But you're having a good time, right?
I'm the guy who's like, oh, it's okay. I'm going to go gamble. It's going to be fun. And then, basically funding travel for the folks for the good smart people like you that are there to hunt people like me.
Well, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna team up with Chris.
SpaceHitch's. Thanks you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I provided the seed funding for
Christina.
SpaceHitch inadvertently.
We're gonna use SpaceHitch in May when it goes live. I'm gonna send you a poker book, and you're gonna study it, and that's how you're gonna win your way around the world and fund your trip.
All right, studying poker. I mean, you can do that though. There are people, I've met people actually while backpacking that support themselves pretty much 100% from playing poker. People who are high level people. As poker, it's the kind of thing where, from on the surface, you might say, oh, it's luck or what have you, but it's really not a game of luck. Yeah, on one individual hand, there is luck involved. There's a certain percent chance that your card's going to flip or not going to flip. But if you're playing for a long time, over a period of hours, days, months, if you're playing the right strategy, if you're good at reading people, it's actually nothing to do with luck at all. It has to do with how are you playing the game. Are you a good poker player? So if you are a good poker player, which I'm not, you can actually support yourself doing that. And I've met people who do it. My buddy, actually, I met a guy in Israel, this dude Nick, and that's exactly what he does. He plays poker and supports himself, which I think is pretty badass. But I think, that's the kind of same thing that goes for businesses in general, maybe, or getting that break. People talk about that all the time, is getting that break. And it's looked from the outside perspective, it looks like luck, oh yeah, you got a big break, like you got that good gig, acting, or your business got featured in something, you got that break, and people from the outside say, yeah, good, yeah, wow, nice lucky break. But no, in reality, it's not luck. Maybe that specific little thing was there, but you.
A lot of effort.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of effort that went into it. You were the person starting the business. People like you, Christina. You were working hard, and then you set yourself up for when that break comes up. You captured it. So it wasn't luck at all. It was just the fruits of your labor that actually, okay, now you hit.
Yeah. And come May, we'll see Space Hitch take off.
Error. There has been an error with the transmission. Error.
And we're back. We had some technical difficulties, but we were talking about poker and luck and experience and hard effort and work. But I'm more curious, actually. So Christina, you gambled for fun, but your main source of income was working for this other company. Did any of your friends have some weird sources of income while they were traveling, or is this like the most interesting, like the gambling thing?
I would say I gambled for fun, but it definitely brought in probably more income than just working for a normal job, because there's lots of stupid people in this world. No, that's very mean, but as far as what other people did, no, I think everyone was pretty, they just had a normal job, or everyone spoke English, so when you're out in the Far East or the Middle East, you can just tutor English. I met a couple people who worked for the embassy of their country, but that's just more cool than it is weird. So, right. I mean, what are you thinking of weird?
No, I think more so.
I mean, just different. No, I'm just thinking I've heard of many different ways. I don't know, more than working a traditional job. I wouldn't say it's weird. I'd say it's just, what are the different ways people were making income?
Yeah, exactly.
Working for the embassy. That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. I don't know anybody who's worked for an embassy.
Yeah. There's those travel bloggers who blog, and so my friend Dan, he does he has this travel blog. It's called The Stupid Foreigner, and he was telling me he's been traveling for ever and ever. He was telling me, yeah, if you're thinking of starting a travel blog and making money from it, from ads and all that stuff like everyone else does, it's actually super, super hard. So he's thinking about selling some stuff that he makes to kind of support his travels. Cool. But I would say nothing really that's made me been oh my gosh, that's super unheard of before.
Yeah,
no, that's fine.
Now, those are all interesting things, though, right? I mean, so I've been asked the question actually of from listeners to the show that say, what kind of things are people doing? Are these expats doing that allow them to live abroad? How can I do it? Kind of questions. I think maybe that's, Castle, maybe what you were getting at, sort of. And it may not be a weird thing, but I think for folks that haven't been living abroad as expats, to people that have worked a job in the U.S. all their lives, it is kind of new information for those folks. Like, oh, that's an opportunity. That's the kind of thing you can do. That's how I can live in Taiwan.
Right.
Yeah, I think so you probably met a lot of different kinds of people that are, so you were, I remember now, you were telling us beforehand, you were actually managing a company that was teaching people how to take the SATs. You were working for Princeton Review, right?
Right.
And so you're managing the local staff and helping people who want to go to an American university, helping them to learn how to take the SATs. And that's the kind, which is like, yeah, it's a really cool kind of thing that you wouldn't think of. Oh, that's the kind of thing I can do in Taiwan, right?
Yeah, and then like so when you and it's really like surprising because you'll meet because people who are very similar tend to gather. So expats tend to gather with other expats, and that's the people who you're friends with, and you'll find that like people are like, oh yeah, I'm from London, or I'm from Madrid or whatever, and now I live in Beijing, and I am a marketing assistant for XYZ company, which means they're doing the exact same thing, that like they're working a very normal job but just in a totally different country, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. I never thought to like go to a whole new country and do whatever, do marketing or operations or something like that. And I think that's why that was one of the ideas behind Space Hitch, is just find or give people another way to be able to travel. So you already have things like couch surfing and really, really cheap hostels that you can find a place to stay for free. This way, with Space Hitch, the original plan was like, we really, really want to promote like the service exchange, but obviously we're going to put it that if you are just super lazy, or that's kind of mean, but if you just want to, you can obviously just use money and exchange like a service fee, like, hey, meet up at Starbucks and here's your stuff. Okay, here's the service fee. But we wanted to kind of in the beginning, we wanted to kind of like make it not really money oriented. So if you wanted to give someone a tip for their services, we wanted to keep it kind of like friendly, like $10 or $15, and that would be really helpful to backpackers, because when you're backpacking, you're often traveling on a budget. So $10-15 for helping someone out would be super.
That goes
helpful.
a long way.
So hopefully
you can get by
Space
as a day
Hitch
of traveling, basically.
Yeah. So hopefully Space Hitch makes it in as another way that you can make a little bit of money on the road, and ultimately money you're going to use for things like food or lodging or transportation, and that's why we have the service exchange. So you don't necessarily need money. Someone can host you, in exchange for you bringing something over.
Right.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think of that. Hey, sleep on my couch for a couple days. Thanks for bringing me these Doritos.
Yeah, exactly. And then one thing I really like to do
I've had Doritos
is
forever.
it's really easy in Europe. You just book a flight with a really long layover, like a 14-hour layover, and then you basically get to see 2 cities for the price of 1. But it's a pain if you've got a little carry-on that you have to drag around when you're, sightseeing. So one thing that, I would totally like just ask for if I was space hitching for someone is like, oh, can I leave my little carry-on bag at your house while I go sightseeing, on my layover? Otherwise I have to pay, $30 for the airport, luggage deposit?
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds like a model that's gonna be a community, definitely, because you're gonna have to trust the person that you're interacting with, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And that's why we have the whole profile, leave a comment for people and all that.
I mean, it's just like if I'm on couch surfing and I'm gonna try to find someone who I'm gonna trust them either to stay on my couch or I'm going to sleep on this random person's couch. But what's nice about it is I can go on and see their profile and say, well, this person has 60 positive reviews and 0 negative reviews. They're probably not an axe murderer. So, I feel more comfortable doing that. And so I imagine Space Hitch, as it's forming, is going to have probably something similar, right? Saying, oh, well, this person's delivered 38 packages successfully, all positive reviews, and this person always pays on time. eBay's got a similar kind of system, where where it's basically the community polices itself, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is beautiful. It organically kind of works. I think this is all kind of in the same vein of what we were talking earlier, where these new kinds of companies, the communal kind of sharing of vehicles or of couches or of services, so it's really cool.
Right, and then God, what was I gonna say? Oh, right. So one thing that is kind of just it's something that has to be done. Obviously, there's gonna be a service fee for this, because what's going to happen is the buyer is going to pay us first, and then we're going to hold the money until the traveler goes and delivers it, and then we give the money to them, just to keep everyone safe.
Make sure, yeah.
And then there's going to be a service fee. It's going to be totally free for the traveler, so he doesn't have to do anything to use the service. But for the buyer, what we're thinking is kind of like car insurance. So the more successful Space Hitch trades that you do and the more positive reviews that you get, the lower your service fee that we take will be, to kind of encourage people to do a good job. And obviously, if you suck and you're terrible and you get all these negative reviews, will increase
that's good. Yeah.
how much fee we take.
That's also a good system, too.
I gotcha. No, that is a great idea to reinforce that. I've also been thinking about this. I mean, I'm sure you guys have addressed this, but one of the things that comes to mind is definitely how you deal with international tariffs for items, since you are exporting things, and then also how do you plan to address if somebody were to exchange something illegal through the site? I'm sure somebody's going to try it at some point. How do you guys plan to address those topics?
Okay, and that's actually two different issues, but basically everyone asks it. Like, we were just applying for
I'm sure that's the first
payment
thing they
gateway
ask.
and they were like, well, how are you going to deal with this? So illegal things is basically like a package. And the rule on Space Hitch is going to be no packages whatsoever. So whatever you need brought over, the other person has to go to the store and buy it and get a receipt, and they'll show you the receipt, and that's how you can be sure of the price. So that way you can't have illegal things. Because, if you went to a store and it turned out to be and you bought some chocolate and it turned out to be a kilo of cocaine, then you just sue the store and make $1 million. That would be, really, really good. And so no packages, that also includes I'm going to go to Amazon.com and order something and it's going to drop off at your house. None of that, because it could just be someone else planting another Amazon box and all that stuff.
Right.
Right.
So obviously if someone sends a message is can you pick up a package for me? Then the person should know no, you can't, they should not be agreeing to that. If they do, it's a violation of our terms of use. We're not going to be responsible for that. Obviously, when that happens and, the shit hits the fan and, the news comes in, we can't just be we'll just, sweep it under the rug. We'll obviously have to, take care of that. But it is against our terms of use for packages, which hopefully eliminates all illegal things.
Right.
As far as international tariffs, it's, again, the traveler has to be responsible. So which means you have to know yourself. We are not going to have a pop-up that says, oh, you're coming from London to Cambodia. Did you know the import taxes are this? No, you need to be responsible for yourself. We're a platform, so we only facilitate connections. If you choose to do, basically stupid things or not be aware of the law, that is your responsibility. So if someone says hey, can you bring me over 20 laptops? You should say something that seems kind of shady. Or you can say that's actually totally legal. I'll bring it over for you. But I need to declare this in customs. And that's going to be totally legal, if you do it that way. And then you'd be I'm going to have to declare it. Do you want to pay the taxes? And then the person's no, I just want you to hide it in your luggage. And you say yes, and you end up going to jail because of this.
Right.
This is kind of your fault. It was really there.
So there's some personal responsibility element to space hitching.
Right.
Yeah, but let's say you have your own laptop, and then someone's oh, can you get me a laptop? And now you have 2 laptops, and then you get checked at customs, and you get fined or whatever. Again, this is your responsibility because you like if you're a traveler and you don't know this, like we can't educate every single person that comes on. Obviously, there's going to be like giant signs on our website on every single page, like basically it says like don't be stupid. We'll try to make it nicer than that, but that's essentially what it's going to say.
I gotcha. Yeah. Be cognizant of the international laws and tariffs.
Yeah, well, I think having
Right.
awareness is just a general thing you should have while traveling also. So,
Yeah, and then so if anything happens, we are gonna like everything that like all the private messages, all the transaction sheets are obviously gonna be like electronic paper trails. So we'll go back there and be like, oh, hey, look, you agreed to something stupid. Obviously, if someone's like, oh, like let's go talk on Gmail about this super awesome transaction I want you to do, and you go off on a Gmail and then you get like conned and like bring 20 laptops over and go to like Cambodian jail again. That's just gonna be your fault.
yeah.
Right. I gotcha. I got
Well, Christina, this is actually really interesting and informative here. It's an exciting business you've got sort of on the rise at the moment. And it's so SpaceHitch.com, I think, is the best spot for folks looking for more information. I think now
Absolutely.
you're kind of doing the beta testing now, or looking for the first round of people to test out the system. Is that right?
We were, but we we actually scratched the private beta test
Okay.
that we were going to do because it's really difficult to, basically for the private beta, we would have had to find someone who was, going from place A to place B and someone who needed to be in place B that needed something, and that's just like a big hassle. So right now we're just building the prototype. We are going to play around on our payment gateways, like they have a little playground, because that's going to be the most complicated thing is the taking payments. I mean, as far as posting and forums and like profiles, that's not really too hard to test.
Right.
So we should be live in a month and a half, about mid-May, and then that's just going to be the beta version, but it is going to be a beta that's open to everyone.
Cool. And so folks who are wanting to know, they can actually sign up on your site now for the newsletter or something like this, right? And provide their email address.
It's basically like
And so if you want to know what's going on,
we'll let you know.
Yeah, exactly.
When we're live.
So anyone who wants to be in the loop about this, whether you're a traveler who does have extra room and you're looking to make a couple bucks, or hey, have someone give you a place to crash or some other favor, or if you are someone who has been traveling probably, or and you want that item from abroad, or maybe you just really into something random in Chinese culture, for example, you can sign up and you'll know when this site's launching at SpaceHitch.com.
Right, and if you are, like, we've had a lot of people go to our Facebook site, and they've just been writing, like, hey, I'm going from this place to this place, like, does anyone need anything? So it's actually really awesome to see, like, people are really, really eager to start using SpaceHitch.
Yeah. And we've got one more question for you. And this
Sure.
is going to be on well, you can answer it however you want. This is the question we ask at the end of each of our shows. And so what we want to know is, and don't think too hard, but what is one thing that you would like to do in your life before you die? Anything.
Well, I have to think hard about this. I don't know. While I think, Mike, what is one thing you would like to do?
Oh, I would like to. Oh wow, turning it around on me on the spot. I would like to see every continent.
Oh, okay. What about you, Justin?
I would like to perform in a comedy show in New York on a Saturday night, prime time. That's what one thing I want to do before I die.
Okay.
And you can, Christina, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be the most.
Well, what I
monumental
really want to
thing.
do is kind of not. People are gonna get mad at me, basically, for this.
Oh, it's okay.
You don't have to make whatever you want.
We won't get mad at you.
Well, like the audience is gonna get mad at me, but so in where was it? It was in China or it was in Mongolia, I forget. There's this place where you can go like ride a horse and shoot wild boars on like a bow and arrow.
Oh wow.
Like with a bow and
Wow.
arrow. But you only get one shot because apparently like the boar gets really mad at you if you like hit him and then like kills everyone because he's like 800 pounds.
So
Wow.
So if you don't shoot
you don't
him,
want to torture the animal.
so like if you don't kill him, yeah, if you don't kill him, like there's a professional who will kill him with a gun,
Right.
so nobody dies. But
Right.
like, I would like to go fight a bear or a boar with like, I don't know, like a shield and like a knife.
Wow, that's awesome. Like old Roman times. Like
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
Greek times.
Because you can't do it with other humans. Like that's bad.
Well, you know, it's
Christina, I would say
Yeah.
that's pretty badass. That's
it
pretty
is pretty badass.
Christina.
I know what you mean. That
But if we want like a good version, I'll say like the one thing that I want to do before I die is ride a shark.
wow.
Either one is pretty
So
badass.
I have an idea
Hey,
for you. You should ride a shark and shoot a boar on bow and arrow while riding a shark.
Right, and then I can get away if the boar gets really mad.
Yeah, exactly. And then have a getaway on a unicorn.
Yes, unicorn.
Cool.
So basically, my whole question was like, if you have a pet unicorn, do you have a lifetime supply of free Skittles?
I think
unicorns
so.
make Skittles.
I think that obviously that comes with a unicorn.
Is that what they crap out? Do they crap out Skittles? Is that what it is?
I thought
know.
like Skittles flowed from their horn.
Rumor has it that unicorns actually have gummy bears also. So
Well, that is
maybe we'll have a unicornhitch.com. Get everything you want delivered to you via unicorn.
I would sign up for it.
I'll sign me up.
In fact, I would invest in that.
So Unicorn Hitch is coming soon, but for now, I guess we don't have unicorns. All we have is space. So you can check out space.
Oh, speaking
Yeah.
of unicorns.
Yeah.
So basically, like everyone who works on Space Hitch is like a big fan of World of Warcraft. Do you guys know that show? Or
Yeah.
it's
Of
not a show,
course.
it's the game.
Oh,
Yeah. It's like-
absolutely.
So next year, probably next spring when the weather gets nice again, we're gonna have a like worldwide quest. Kind of like I think the closest thing to relate to is like that TV show, The Amazing Race, where people just go and like do quests.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have like a big scavenger
And
hunt with
it's-
Space Hitch kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
But it'll be things that like you can do all over the world. So like if you're in New York and you're in Cambodia, you guys can both participate. So it'll be a chain of events. And the top percentage, kind of like a poker tournament, the top percentage people are going to win, are going to be able to split like a prize pool.
That's really cool.
Right, but we're
that's
not.
so
I don't
sick.
think we're gonna give out the money as a prize, but we are going to like refund or buy you a plane ticket. Because the thing is, like, if
That's
you give
awesome.
people
A plane
money
ticket's
as a
perfect.
prize, they're just gonna go like buy gummy bears with it.
Right.
But we want to encourage people to travel. We want to be like, hey, you like, you've always wanted to travel, and you never had a chance. Here's a plane ticket. Go travel.
Yeah. That actually is awesome. Is this a team game?
I don't know. Maybe. So here's the thing. Like, so it'll be like 1 year from now, which means from now until the event comes up, the more you participate in Space Hitch, so like every time you trade, or every time you refer a friend, or you write a blog about us or whatever, you get these special abilities. So I think one ability we're gonna give to people is that they can force another player to do an extra quest. So if you see like Mike is almost at the end, like everyone can spam with extra quests.
That's awesome. I am
maybe,
in
like-
on this game. I'm
So
sold.
maybe like we'll have like a tag team ability.
So
something like
I can
that.
tag with Castle.
so-
He can be the New York leg of my team, and I can be the Southeast Asia leg.
Right. Like if you earn that ability, if you do enough Space Hitches.
Oh,
or if
you have to
refer
earn.
enough friends or
Okay, I
something.
see.
Yeah. And then
gotcha.
so if you do anything like on Space Hitch, anything related to Space Hitch, you'll be able to participate for free. If not, there's going to be a nominal like entry fee.
Right.
But really, all you have to do is like refer a friend, and then you just enter for free.
So I unlock
World
abilities the
of
more I do
Space
on the site. That's pretty cool. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I wanna
that
be a
basically comes from, like,
warlock.
World of Warcraft. Like, we all love World of Warcraft. We're just like, oh, let's do something very similar.
I love the World of
I wanna
Warcraft
be a-
episode
I
of
wanna-
South Park.
I'm just
That was
I'm just gonna go in the
so
bushes.
the way we're gonna build the prize pool is
Level
for
up.
everything that happens on Space Hitch. So again, like every time someone Space Hitches, or sometime every time that someone refers a friend or something, we're gonna put a set dollar amount towards the prize pool. So the more things that happen, the
Right,
bigger the prize pool is
right.
gonna be.
Christina, I'm just gonna space hitch with my neighbors. You need the remote? Here's the remote. Give me a bottle of water. I'm gonna level up.
Site and we have traffic on the site. That's fine.
Oh, he figured out how to game the system. There we go.
I'm gonna level
Awesome.
up. I'm gonna be level 1,000. I'm gonna be like I'm just gonna be a master hitcher.
Just
There you go. And you just sort of spam everyone with extra quests.
Will Smith is now making a sequel to Hitch called Space Hitch.
We'll have the secret unicorn hitch.
Unicorn
like,
Hitch.
Or
The
world
super
of
secret
hitch.
ability.
All right. Well, unicorns and space. These things are wonderful. And if any of this sounds, jeez, I'm already sold on this little game thing. That sounds like so much
I'm
fun.
telling you, Christina is badass.
It is
Christina
badass.
You are a badass.
This
Christina.
comes from like being addicted to World of Warcraft. Like something good came out of it.
Yeah, well, check out, folks, spacehitch.com. Also, for us, Welcome to Earth podcast, you're listening to the show already, so you know how to find it. But in case you didn't know, we are available on several platforms. That's iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. Please like us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Walking the Earth podcast. Follow us on Twitter. That's @WTE podcast. Those are all the different ways and places you can find us.
Thanks for tuning in to Walking the Earth podcast. This is Justin Castle signing off from New York. We'll talk to you next time.